All right. And Kat, I heard you had a grandfather that also, baby. What was that story again you told me yesterday?
Yes, and Kat. Yes, and.
Welcome back to another episode of 1980s Now, a weekly examination of the importance of 1980s pop culture and its influence today. My name's Will, and joining me, as always, are my cats and friends, Kat and John. I mean, that wasn't inaccurate.
Hello, my Will. Yeah. Hello, my John.
Yeah, are my cats and John.
I'm just a friend.
Well, now, yeah, I realized I should have said all of my cats and Johns are here because you have the totality of those in my life.
Is that you don't know any other Johns, or I can imagine no other cats. Surely you have at least one other John.
I know, but I'm not in touch with or close with. No, and certainly not Jonathan. No.
Oh, right.
Yeah, growing up when I was young in college, we had in our Star Trek fan club, we had a lot of people named John.
Oh,
and the riff always was because often there was a joke that you never see the toilets on Star Trek, and the joke was. You can never find a toilet, but you can always find a John.
Oh, wow. Star Trek club humor. It's so niche-y. I love
it. You won't hear it anywhere else.
I say you're far too young to be named after freaks, of course, but it's of that same era, I suppose. Maybe, I guess at that time,
Did you say freaks?
Freaks. John.
Right.
Cat, just assume freaks when we talk about Star Trek. No.
Yeah, we're talking Trekkers, not whatever.
It all works.
Hey, check it out. We're not going to talk about any of that nonsense. You want to hear about that? Go to listen to John's show, Gen X Grown Up. They talk about those jokes.
I don't waste time over there with this stuff. Are you kidding me?
All right. Well.
I save it for right here.
Right. If you don't want any of this stuff, then go to John's show, Gen X Grown Up, right after you listen to this show here. Hey, on today's show, we're going to be talking about a number of different things, current news stories related to our 1980s media, the various things we grew up with, including, let's see. Oh, hey, did you ever want to run your own video rental store? I didn't necessarily, but I got to tell you, when I was a kid, I think one of the things Generation X often shares in common is having had jobs at young ages. And one of my favorite jobs was retail, working at a store. I started stocking shelves and eventually I was selling shoes. And then, I worked at one of the very first like one of 5 Aeropostales that opened in, I want to say 1987.
Wow.
I love that. So yeah. All right. Video rental. I'll sell you whatever you want to buy. That's fine. I can do that. Speaking of that, physical video, it turns out, is having its vinyl moment. There was a resurgence of that type of physical media in the music milieu, genre media. And we're seeing something similar in physical video as well. Speaking of that, though, it turns out some 1980s VHS tapes are worth a whole lot of money. And maybe you have one in your attic somewhere, so we'll let you know what those are. Hey, I am enjoying the new Sherlock show on Amazon Prime. It's topping the charts there. It was just knocked down a peg by something. Oh, Invincible. The new season of Invincible came out, so it went from number 1 to number 2, I think, but it's still doing well. I love Sherlock everything.
Not shabby.
I can't wait to watch this. I didn't even know it existed until now. Yeah. And I really want to watch it. Really, really.
Yeah, in the last couple of years, there's been a few new Sherlock things. You've got Watson, which I think is on CBS. It's a contemporary setting where Watson is the sort of Holmesian character. You've got Sherlock and Daughter, which I haven't watched, which came out last year. It's on the CW. I do want to check that one out. And now you got this new one here, Young Sherlock on Amazon. We'll talk about that. But this reminds me of all the good Sherlock we got in the 1980s, which was an era in which I once again consumed all the Sherlock media I could, because I loved Sherlock by then, growing up in the 1970s, watching some of those, old Basil Rathbone movies mostly.
My initial exposure to Sherlock Holmes was the old radio shows, because I would collect all those. And so it was, I guess I thought I knew a secret. I'm like, oh, you've never heard of this amazing detective? Oh, everyone's heard of it? Okay. When you first discover. But I love those old radio shows because it's just audio fiction. But unlike listening to, a book on tape, it's designed for you to not have the visual so you can bake it all with your head. So
Oh, yeah.
Basil Rathbone, so he made these movies in 1939 was the first one. He did 2 in 1939, and then the others came out in 40 and later. But after the second film came out, he did the radio show. And they did a bunch more stories on the radio show. So it was kind of cool to have this continuity of the same actor voicing the character.
Same guy.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. But all this chat about Sherlock got me thinking about how is it that they've been getting away with all this Holmesian content, considering that, my understanding of the Conan Doyle estate was pretty litigious and had those rights locked down. But this had me recall a number of different things, including many from the 1980s. So we're going to talk about all those things. All right. Maybe some surprises as well.
Awesome.
All right. Let's get started on 1980s. We don't want that. Oh, we want this. Okay. Here we go. Hey, as reported by Kotaku, you can run your own video rental store. And thinking about this got me you'll see, it spun me off to these other notions that are just all contemporary right now, or happening right now. But with it, and all started with this notion, with the advances of digital technology, we talked about this. Most of us began abandoning our physical media years ago.
Yes.
And it started with music as we moved to, CD. We started moving from records to tapes to CDs to digital, and a similar thing happened with video as well. Suddenly owning the, dozens, if not hundreds of the wafer-thin DVDs even seemed impractical.
Right.
I have
wafer-thin.
every DVD I own, and I still have them, fit in, I want to say 6 or 7 different, vinyl or whatever, canvas cases. I don't know how much.
Like
One of
little
those.
binders.
Yeah.
A zip up binder. Yeah, we have some of those.
Maybe it's a couple hundred.
Depending on the thickness, they hold 50 or 100 or so.
Yeah.
They might, depending. Little canvas zippy guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Case Logic. Ooh, was a big
right.
provider of
They're
those.
still around.
Yes.
Yeah. But even that seemed impractical now. Look, we could have a whole shelf and we could just don't have to have those anymore. Taking them out seemed like a hassle. Wiping them off, putting them in the thing. Oh, gosh. We fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker, all these modern conveniences. Anyway, but all these things came at a cost, some literal and others metaphorical. Today, this drives me crazy. Subscribing to all the services you need to have access to the content you have on your DVDs, you combine all the costs of those together. It exceeds what we paid to pay to one single cable company a few years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, but all that access also is fragile, which we talked about, because it exists merely at the whim of some behind-the-scenes licensing deals made between a distributor and the folks who own the rights. And that goes for music and movies, et cetera, et cetera. There's also something else that can't be captured in all this, not having the physical media anymore, and that's nostalgia. Look, here's the good news. There's a new game that helps us recoup some of this from Blood Pack Studios, reminding us of what it was once to go to the rental stores on the weekends, weekdays to get those coveted movies. It's available on Steam, and it's called Retro Rewind Video Store Simulator. I mean, I just realized we have those friends who have Retro Rewind. That's their whole brand.
I know, right? That's the name of the show. I know, right? And now there's a game that matches.
Anyway, it's a simulator. There's plenty of them out there, but it lets you run an old school movie rental shop. Now, like other simulators, if you played any, you begin with nothing and you have to build up your business as you expand shelf space, acquire better movies, and hire employees, and so on and so forth. And it seems to have been created by folks who lived this experience. I don't know what they did, but they did their research because it really captures the joy of being at a video store on a Friday night, if only from the other side of the counter, which I said. I love renting.
Joy.
With the frustration of finding an empty box. Is that what you're talking about? Son of a bitch. It's not really here.
Well, you just said it, Will. It's from the other side of the desk. So I have this game. I'm about a week into it, not in real time, a week in the store's life.
Yeah.
Right? So I've played it for an hour or so. I'm a week into the thing. And it's nerve-wracking because people are returning videos. Yeah. The shelves are getting empty. You're checking out customers. Then and then the phone rings. Then somebody goes, "Hey, can you recommend no, I can't. What do you want? Can you reserve this? Let me go see if it's on the shelf." And then ding, ding, ding. And then somebody rings the bell. What the hell? And it's early, but you're right. You start the game with nothing. At the beginning of the game, you buy 3 shelves of whatever style you'd like and buy 30 movies in a random bin, just leftover movies they're shipping you, previously viewed. And you start to build and start to build. But I never worked at a video store. I have a lot of friends that did. And I found out It was very nerve-wracking on the other end on a Friday night.
Is there one of those machines that you have to rewind that they have available? So,
Hell yes.
yeah.
Sometimes you check in a movie and it says, oh, they didn't rewind it. So you got to literally put it in the machine, clamp it down, it spins on the table, and then you put it back in the box, and then you go put it on the shelf.
Among the other authentic features I read about, John, include that folks may bring the cassette late, and you could have to decide whether you're going to charge them a fee or not. As you mentioned,
right.
You're going to have to fill up popcorn buckets if folks want to buy popcorn. Pick the decor you have, all those sorts of things.
Oh, this sounds very stressful for me.
Yeah, I like the juice. Like I mentioned, I love that retail juice.
Yeah.
And just like with an actual rental shop, your business varies depending upon, different factors, including weekends are busier than weekdays. A new release can drive more traffic. Holidays may affect what folks are looking to watch.
Oh, man.
And I don't know if you had this experience yet, but according to Kotaku, John, there's a shady figure that occasionally appears behind the store selling bootleg movies and porn and causing other challenges that you need to deal with.
I bought like 5 tapes from him the first time he
you're
offered. I'm like, these are cheap.
Oh.
And you said you love the retail juice. You got to love this. So I'm playing the game. This is maybe a weekend, just shy of a weekend. And they have a calendar and it says, oh, well, on this date, new release. Be sure you take a look on the computer on this date. And then you look, well, there's a brand new movie that's coming out this day. Okay, well, every one you buy costs whatever, but the more you buy, the price goes down. If you'll buy 5 units, they'll also send a standee to help you advertise the movie, which you can also decorate the place with.
Wow.
And because it's a new release for the first X number of days, you can charge a premium for it. So all that is there. Yeah.
That seems hyper realistic in that sense, at least.
They do ease you into it because like the popcorn machine and the snow cones and the slushies and all that's not working initially. You have to earn unlocking those things. So they're easing you into it a little bit. You have to make change. You have to count the money out of the register.
Oh, I would love that. Okay. I would like that part very much.
Yeah. Hey, when you were kids, didn't you play store and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was always the banker in Monopoly because I liked it, but also I didn't trust anyone I was playing.
Oh.
To be honest, I knew I would be a good bank.
They're like 2 for you and 1, 2 for me, that kind of thing?
Yes, they were like, yes. My cousins and my sister. Oh, dastardly.
wow.
It's like you saw in the trailer, they don't have the license for all these movies, all this artwork, all this physical media. So that one, there was like a standee and it said Phantom Patrol.
Phantom Patrol.
And it's very clearly Ghostbusters. It has like a monsters, like a monstery ghosty thing with almost like slime, almost shaped like a no symbol around it, but it's not really.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. When I got my new release, I talked about it was called The Static Haunting. And it was a hands in front of a staticky TV, very clearly poltergeist. So I like it.
Right.
They spend so much time and energy creating all this artwork and all these puns. It's wonderful.
Hey, look, it's pretty popular so far, so maybe I want to check it out. In the first 24 hours following its debut on Steam, it received 329 reviews, with 96% of them being positive. It's available right now for $20.
Yeah, it was gifted to me by one of our friendly followers.
Oh,
really
that's nice.
Yeah.
Aww.
I thought this is right up your alley. Yeah.
Is that something you think you would play? Like, it's not much like into Steam, really. You don't play on PC all that much, but if you could, would you?
Yeah,
would.
I used to, on my other Mac, I had an emulator for Steam, for the PC, so I could get Steam.
Okay.
I think I would check it out. Again, I like that juice. I don't play a whole lot of video games. I do generally like the ones where I can get in and get out. So it might be a little bit of an investment, but I know you can get in there and build your business slowly, I imagine.
And since you've shown an interest, it's important that you have, because that means it's time to play.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Yes, it is time to play. I am hosting a game for Kat and Will.
Oh, shit. I don't know.
So in this game, Retro Rewind, I mentioned the Phantom Patrol is Ghostbusters. I mentioned the Static Haunting is Poltergeist. I have pulled 10 other fake movies in this game, all from the 80s, 80s adjacent, very close.
I'm so excited.
And I'm going to give you the title. I'm going to give you the title that they give you, and then you have to tell me what actual 80s-ish adjacent. I kept some in there because you're just so good.
Yeah.
All right.
I think
so
Will is going to kill this thing. I'll do my best.
We'll see. We'll keep. I saw Kat. I'm going to flip a coin in the air. Heads or tails?
Tails.
All right. Will's first. It was heads. So.
All right.
So Will.
Yes, sir.
This first This first one is for you. Are you ready? This is a fake movie, but clearly based off of a real 1980s movie.
Okay.
Die Trying.
All right, there's a real obvious one here, but let me think. The trying could go.
Some of them are. Okay. Some of them are a little more obtuse.
All right, I'm going to go with my first instinct. I think everybody listening's first instinct and say Die Hard.
That's correct.
Yes!
There you go. Well done. All right. So, Kat, this next one's for you.
Okay.
And I think this one's a little tougher, but that's okay.
Oh, of course.
I think you have
it.
it.
Right.
So this one.
Pythagorean's Theorem, Kat. That's the movie. It's called.
So this one is called Jumbo Manhunt.
Oh, let's say Jumbo.
Jumbo. Is there a colon?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I was going to ask, Kat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
There is.
Not that that's helping me.
Well, it's not a jumbo manhunt, though. It's Jumbo.
No. Jumbo, Manhunt.
Jumbo, Manhunt. Is it one of the Rambo movies?
Oh,
maybe?
that's a good
Rambo.
It may be.
That's a good guess, Kat. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what the next part would be. But the colon makes me think of a Rambo movie.
Okay. Well, yeah.
All right. Do you have anything, Will?
Well, no, I think you might be on the
name one that you know.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the first one?
I think you're there.
Rambo. First Blood?
It's exactly right. First Blood. You've done it. Correct.
That's good, Kat.
How tough was that?
I didn't even connect Jumbo to Rambo. That's really great, Kat.
Oh, well, thank you. Really, it was all about the colon.
Yep.
Isn't it always at our age in the 50s?
It always is. The older you get, especially. Will, this next one's for you.
Yes, sir.
Poetry is dead.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
Huh. I'm thinking Back to the Future, Kat. What do you think? Think it's Back to the Future? All right, I'm going to go instead with Dead Poets Society.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yes!
Kat, I got a softball for you. You ready? Here we go. The next one, Holiday Break-In.
It's Home Alone.
Okay.
It's got to be Home Alone.
That's correct.
Oh my gosh. Holiday Break-In.
All right. We're halfway home.
It made me think of
Well, this next one's for you. And we're doing good.
Dancing.
You're tied up.
Go ahead.
No. All right. This next one is a hyphenate.
Okay.
It is X-terminate.
X-terminate. I love it. I guess, again, I'll go with the low-hanging fruit here. The Terminator?
That's correct. They're all low-hanging fruit. Absolutely.
Man, that pause is really long.
All right.
Finding out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing great, Kat. You ready? Here we go. Just a few more left.
I'm ready.
This was Forward to the Past.
Oh. This is one that Will would want to answer. It has to be Back to the Future.
That's correct. You got it. All right. Just 4 left. Will, this next one.
Yeah.
Pimple Face.
Oh, crap.
Oh.
Pimple face. Huh. All right. Scarface.
That's correct. You got it. Yep. See that?
I thought it was
leads to the scars.
I thought it was going to be about a kid, maybe a young, like a pubescent.
Right. Yeah.
teen.
Good thinking.
Yes.
Good thinking. All right.
Yes.
You haven't missed a single one, guys. Super good. All right. So, Kat, this next one is called Phone Home.
Oh,
E.T.
That's right, of course. We're gonna go lossless. You guys are not gonna miss a one.
Okay,
It's gonna be tied. Here we go.
Okay.
Will, you got this. Hell Hotel.
All right. Let's see. A movie comes to mind with a hotel. I start thinking about hotel. Shining's got a hotel. I'll go with The Shining.
That's correct. You got it.
Oh my gosh, I love
And
these.
finally, Kat, the pressure's on. The last one. This will make it tied up. Totally even game. It won't be tough. I have to make it harder, I have to tell you the spelling. It's spelled with a K at the beginning. It is Conan the Berserker.
Conan the Barbarian.
Fantastic. Look at that. You swept it. You both swept it all the way.
Oh, that was awesome,
I
John.
think that Conan one had to be at the end of the day, right? When they're like, oh, Jesus. We need a Conan one now, guys.
That was not so tough.
Can we just call it Conan?
There's way more, by the way. There's way more out there. I just I picked the ones from the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a Mad Max. I didn't pick that because it's like 79 or something, right? So Mad Max is like Bad Ben or something.
that would be tough, I think. Well,
Bad
It's just very cute.
Oh, yeah.
It's very cute what they've done. And often there's something evocative of the original film, but not actually artwork from it. So it's, I liked it. And when I saw the list, I'm like, oh, we got to try these out. So thank you.
So glad
Thank
you
you
did.
for humoring me.
Thank you for that. That's very cool. Fun. I don't
Actually,
like being,
you did the humoring.
Yeah. I don't like being on the other side of the counter, as we say. All right. Hey, speaking of that, otherwise in 1980s news here, physical video is having its vinyl moment. So as of 2024, the RIAA, which is the Recording Industry Association of America, I think,
Something like that. Yep.
reported that revenues from physical music formats grew with total physical revenues reaching, okay, this is all the physical media. Okay. Reaching $2 billion, which is up 5% from the prior year. Revenues from vinyl records grew 7% to $1.4 billion, the 18th consecutive year of growth. Holy cow.
Wow.
Yeah. So and some people, as I mentioned, believe that physical video may be following this trend. As reported on marketplace.org, a Consumer Reports survey found that nearly half of us are still watching DVDs and Blu-rays, while 15% of those surveyed are still watching VHS tapes.
Wow. Really?
You guys watching stuff on Blu-rays and DVDs and VHS tapes still?
Blu-ray, yes, or DVDs. We were holdouts with the I have 2 VCRs in my house. They're not hooked up right now, but when my kids were little, we would go to the library and they loved borrowing VHS tapes. And so we would do that constantly. And so we introduced them to that media, but it's been a while. We haven't actually watched a VHS tape in quite a while.
There's certainly a romance to VHS, in a way that, like, if a DVD's broken, it's broken. It's not going to work. The disc isn't going to be read. But like, I had a little kit. I could splice a VHS tape,
Really?
I had the little, you put the tape in there and the laser blades come down and you put there's like this felt tape you put on that won't mess with the head and all this. Yeah. So if you have a bad spot or a crinkle, and so you could resurrect old tapes, which I loved. And before I went, well, I don't know what happened to my VHS. Before I went, completely off the grid and I did, cut the wire, we had tons of DVDs. I never went with Blu-ray or HD DVD. I never did. I resisted that because I'm like, fool me thrice, shame on me, I was like, there'll be another one after. It turns out there was nothing after Blu-ray, just streaming. So I ducked, I kind of dodged the bullet. But I do have a giant, like, old Foot Locker sized piece of luggage, like a soft side piece of luggage that has all of our, like, treasure DVDs, like a nice Criterion Collection DVDs, or the box sets with the metal, the Terminator with the, metal on the outside or whatever. But I'll watch them. Right before I went completely, off the grid, I actually bought a 100 DVD changer. And even that was too much work to remember which slot it was in. And I got rid of that even. So I haven't watched anything on a disc in maybe a decade.
Yeah.
I did a couple months ago, The Muppet Show. Have those on DVD.
Oh, the original.
Yeah.
I just stream them.
I think
find
that's
them
on,
somewhere.
I think that's on Disney now, Disney Plus.
Probably. It ought to be.
A friend gave it to me and, the whole thing. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I have some of those box sets you mentioned, John, that I haven't ever opened. They were gifts, or I got it. I think I'll watch this series. And then streaming came along and I never even opened the box. Anyway, according to James Wilcox, the senior electronics editor at Consumer Reports, who conducted the survey I mentioned, he says, quote, "It's probably really a mix of emotional, practical, and cultural reasons that we're seeing this sort of renewed fondness for older technologies," end quote. As alluded to earlier, we don't own the movie and TV shows that we, quote unquote, purchase online. Instead, we buy a limited time license for viewing access. And if the distributor loses rights to that product, it's gone from your library.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've had this happen before. I don't even remember getting a notice about it. It was just like, hey, we can watch, whatever. Oh, that's weird. And then I dig and find out, I bought it. And then, they give you the money back, but that's not the point.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
No one's breaking into my house and taking my, Smallville DVD box set because they don't have the rights for it anymore. And I wake up and it's gone from the shelf. And it feels a little bit like that.
Well, I got to tell you, I have a caveat on the no DVD thing, because while I have not watched any DVDs, there are shows that you can't find anywhere.
Yes.
You can't find streaming. You can't find to purchase. You can't find to steal. Like, they're nowhere. And so I have purchased, like, box sets of shows that I really like and then ripped them down off the DVD and put them in my digital media collection. So in a way, I own the digital, but I own the master, and I've actually kept those not to verify when the police come that I have authority to watch
Right,
it, but rather, should I lose the media, I can always re-rip it.
Yeah.
But even then, I didn't watch it off the disc. I just ripped, 1 week I'm putting in one disc after another. Every 30 minutes it says change disc, and you rip the whole series down, and then you can watch it at your leisure. So I put that on my shelf as a trophy, but otherwise I'm not watching the discs. Yeah.
Got
You
it.
just reminded me, because I rely heavily on Spotify to get my music. I used to have Apple Radio or Library, whatever it is, that service says you could pay to have access to everything. But I rely on Spotify, so I don't worry about my CDs, and I even got rid of a bunch of them. And then just about a week or so ago, I was going to listen to Two Live Crew, As Nasty As They Want to Be, the original version, and it's gone. They took it off. I don't know why. Because some of the songs exist on other albums. I think mostly Me So Horny, and it may just be Me So Horny was one. Anyway, it's gone. And I know obviously there's got to be a rights issue or something.
Is that the name of the track you're referencing, or is that your reaction to it?
It's both. It makes me aroused.
Okay.
When I lose things. I'm a sub? Yes. I'm a masochist.
I love you long time.
Yeah. So anyway, that's so. And I got rid of I don't think I have the CD anymore. So I was like, why do I need it? We live in the age of digital.
I ripped all my stuff before I got rid of it. That's something that I actually did. Is I'm like, before I get rid of this stuff, I ripped it. And that was the beginning of my digital media collection.
I do have it ripped on an older computer. So I guess the thing is I have to get it. See, what Apple used to do is they would upload all your stuff to the cloud, and then you'd have access to it.
Yeah.
That's gone from
That's
my
right.
Apple too. I don't know why. My library is missing stuff.
You know what they did to you there is they never actually accepted your media.
Okay.
What they do is what they call track matching.
Ah.
You upload it, and they recognize what this file is and go, okay, you now have a license to listen to this thing from our library, and they just destroyed it. And then that way they could take it away from you later if they lost the rights, because they actually didn't keep your media. They used it to verify you had a license.
Right.
Very snaky, but that's why. And you trusted them. You're like, oh, the media's there in the cloud, right? You're good.
So there you go. Yeah. I guess I have to dig out that computer then that also has a copy of it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
But along these lines, in August, and this makes me a little bit happy, I guess. In August, a class action lawsuit was filed against Amazon over this practice, which plaintiffs called a, quote, bait and switch. Earlier last year, a California law went into effect. This is in addition to that. A California law went into effect barring the advertisement of a transaction as a, quote, purchase unless it offers unrestricted ownership of the product. Under the statute, sellers must obtain acknowledgement that buyers are aware they're buying a limited license. So look for that in California at least, but I imagine it might go nationwide. This other case I mentioned is still pending. They just got before the court. To be sure, though, there's no money really in physical media. That's not why folks are getting involved in it, including these businesses that rent or sell them for the most part. The streaming business totals about $50 billion in revenue, compared to only about $1 billion for newly released physical media. But the trend line, as I mentioned, which can be measured for new releases at least, shows that physical media is getting more attention. And there's other hopes for folks who love physical media, because there's stores that are showing that they're becoming increasingly more popular as an antidote to digital overload. In Los Angeles, rental store Vidiot's is one such place. It's a space founded by two women.
Are you laughing at videos?
Just it harkens
what?
back to the origins of this podcast.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's what I thought of, John. Yes, the idiots, the vidiots. Yes.
I'm like,
I love
who
that
would
too.
name their show that?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's a great name.
Well, theirs doesn't have a number in it, so they were smart.
Oh, I see.
It was founded by two women, Patty Pollinger and Kathy Tober, in Santa Monica way back in 1985. And for 3 decades, they thrived, growing a unique collection, serving a far-reaching, diverse, and devoted community of film lovers. During the rising cost, though, they closed in 2017. But in 2023, they reopened at a new location, this time as a nonprofit. And they've got tens of thousands of videos available for rental. And it seems like now,
like a library, basically,
yeah,
a nonprofit. That's cool. Huh.
Yeah. While they were closed, they even had it. They had some donors that helped support it. They stored the 50,000 plus movies somewhere, in a safe space until they were
In their living room. under a tarp, I'm sure.
Honey, holy Christ, are you serious? There's more? Or no, it's like, hey, you feel like watching Witness with Harrison Ford? I do. All right, hang on a second.
Let me get the shovel.
I've been working on the railroad.
And not a little shovel, like the big elephant crap shovel. Like the one that's like 2 foot wide. You're sitting at all these tapes looking.
That's the one I imagined, yeah.
Elephant crap shovel. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know the one.
Yes.
I can picture it.
Perfect.
You've been to the circus?
You painted a picture for me.
According to store director Robbie McCluskey, the Videots is even more popular now than it was way back when. Back when it closed, it was renting at most a few hundred DVDs and Blu-rays a week. But since it reopened, it now rents more than 1,000.
Dang.
And I found out about this cool thing, just as, I don't know, this is a public service announcement. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. For lovers of physical media, there's a guy named Brian Morrison who in 2019, another LA guy, all these good things come out of LA. This guy named Brian Morrison, who used to be a Blockbuster employee, started noticing that there was a number of empty newspaper kiosks around the town that they weren't being used anymore. Mm-hmm. So he repurposed them by branding them. He painted them blue and branded them with a logo that looks like the Blockbuster logo, but it says Free Blockbuster. And he would put an inventory of DVDs and VHS tapes in it, and with a little sign that says, take a movie, leave a movie. And others have followed his lead all around the country. Now there's, I want to say more than 100. There's a map if you go to freeblockbuster.org where you can find one of these kiosks. Or if you want to participate and you have access to an empty newspaper kiosk, you can help join. They help you. They provide the images so you know how to do the logo and all that. Or you can buy, I think it's $420. You can buy a freestanding kiosk that's already ready to go.
That is cool. It's like those little libraries.
Yeah, it's a little neighborhood like the birdhouse lending libraries that you see around town, right?
Yeah.
It's the same idea. Yeah, the little, I think they call them little libraries or something.
Little libraries.
Is that what they are? Yeah. Right. Yeah, little community things. That's cute.
So we had a ton of VHS.
Yeah.
A lot of kid stuff. But you have me concerned now that I might have given away a valuable tape because one of the students where I work loves retro stuff. And so I have given him our VHS tapes that we were no longer watching.
Yeah.
You're having me question.
Well, I got a list here, Kat, of a number of movies from the 1980s that got some value to them. But you know what? I try to make, whenever I do something like that, I try to make peace, right? Like it's serving a better purpose. And I know you're this way too. Beyond the money will be whatever actual enjoyment somebody has out of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
absolutely.
So you got caught up on some comments here. Ted, regarding, let's see, we're talking about Retro Rewind, that video game. Ted says the sequel is called Neighborhood Library, where you, Ted, are you kidding me, right? Neighborhood Library, where you struggle with expired library cards, late books, broken microfiche machines, and a jumbled Dewey Decimal System card catalog. I see. All right. Now, you know what? That's not the kind of retail experience I would hope.
No, that's the nonprofit version.
Yeah. No, I want to make money.
Yeah, me too.
Even if it's pretend. Brandon says there's a big market for horror films on VHS. The Friday the 13th films go for big money oftentimes. Yeah, I've got an example of that right here, Brandon. I'm going to tell you about in a second here. Wild Thing says streaming has turned into such a mess that I'm holding on to my massive DVD collection. Should rip them, but storage prices right now. I see. So talking about buying the hard drives or solid state drives, you're talking about to store them? Yeah.
Yeah. They're steep right now.
They got to be, what's a movie? It's got to be half a gig or a gig. I mean, depending, I guess, the resolution and the length of time.
It's entirely up to, right. You can rip it down to whatever resolution and bit rate and quality that you want. Generally for something to be decent at 1080p and, 2-hour movie, you're looking about at least a gig an hour.
Wow.
At least a gig an hour?
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is expensive.
Right. Not a terabyte, a gigabyte, right? So a terabyte, you'd store 500 movies on a 2 terabyte drive, basically. So it's not terrible. It's just, it ain't free.
Yeah.
It isn't going up right now. And I actually, when people ask me for, extra media, I will go, I can find this for you, but I'm going to get it at 720 because it doesn't take up as much space. So you just enjoy it. Be happy it's there.
Hey, if you're watching it on your phone, it's fantastic.
Exactly. Right. Most people don't watch it on their big CinemaScope television anymore, right? Exactly. They're like, we've got it on the laptop. We got it. Oh, great. That's fine quality for you there.
Well, hey, speaking of a value of the movies here, let's see, Kat, if you had any of these. Now, because along with, and this is a list I got off a Screen Crush, The flip side of this resurgence, right, the physical media resurgence, is the law of supply and demand. And along with the practical reasons that we talked about that drive consumers away from streaming, maybe, is the one impractical one that drives many to it, nostalgia, which drives so much of what we chat about, of course.
Yes.
Consistent with owning other parts of our childhood, many purchase vintage VHS tapes. But some of them don't do so as hobbyists, but as hardcore collectors. The most sought after, the last unicorn, if you will. And I don't mean the last unicorn, the 1982 film, because that only cost about $100 if you want it vintage. No, I mean the last unicorn as in the unopened copy of a 1980s film. Will cost you a pretty penny. Well, using eBay and other information other information about sold listings on the site Sellers Research Tools, Matt Singer of Screen Crush compiled 20 graded VHS tapes that recently sold for big bucks. So maybe this will give you, incentive to dig through your mom's attic or something. Now, I'm not going to go through all 20, I don't think. It won't surprise you, and this is like John's comment about video games a couple of weeks ago. Almost all of them are from the 1980s. Yes, that's when VHS had its heyday. Yes, we get all. Okay, fine. Whatever. Shitting on trying to make content here.
That was not my intent.
Okay.
I'm sorry you took it that way. It's just like, I was like, wait a minute. The deck's loaded.
I was going to tell you a couple of these here that I think are interesting. Surprisingly, National Lampoon's European Vacation, that shitty 1985 sequel to the original. And by the way, all these are graded at a 9.4 or higher.
Was that the one where they were stuck in the roundabout? It's that one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, look, kids, Big Ben, Parliament. Yes. Sold for $500. See, what else here? I was surprised to learn that The Wizard, that movie with Fred Savage where he competes in a video game competition.
The Nintendo commercial game.
Yes, the Nintendo commercial, right. With the Power Glove, where we first saw the Power Glove, I'm pretty sure. And what was it? Super Mario 3, I think, is featured in it. Got our first look. Yeah, that sold for $850.
Wow.
Jeez, I wouldn't. If you paid me that, I wouldn't take it. Well, I'd take it. I probably wouldn't watch it, though. You wouldn't be surprised to learn that all 3 of the Star Wars films from the original trilogy appear on this list.
And crappy versions, too, because weren't they all like 4:3 cropped down for your TV versions, too?
That's a good
And that's
question.
the thing. You're not going to watch them.
No.
You can't open them anyway. And so nobody cares what the aspect ratio is and how much is being lost.
You're right, John. I forgot that at one point tapes were 4:3, and it was only later was I hunting down letterbox versions of things, and that mostly came along with DVDs.
I had one widescreen VHS. I think it was Pulp Fiction, and I used to think how terrible it is because that a VHS tape is like 480p, which is like 480 horizontal scan lines of resolution. And when you letterbox it, you're not using half of it. So the actual movie, while the correct aspect ratio, you're only getting like 320 lines of information. The rest is just recorded black on a VHS. It's so inefficient, but if you wanted to see the sides.
I don't understand what letterbox means.
It's widescreen.
Yeah.
But before we had widescreen TVs, you would see that wide image on a 4:3 TV, and you'd have the black bars on the top.
With the black bars. Okay.
They call
I know
that
it.
letterbox.
So it's a box in the shape of a horizontal like envelope, a letter like that. There's another one called pillar box, which means there's black on the sides in order to do anamorphic stuff I won't bore you with. But yeah, to make it fit. Remember you watch HBO, Cat, and it says, this film has been modified to fit your television. Right at the beginning, you're like, oh, cool, enhanced? No, cropped.
Yeah. Or even worse, pan and scan. Ugh.
Or open matte. It was like the weird bastard child of those two. Which is
right. I'll give you the top 3 here, counting down from number 3. Jaws, 1975 film, sold for $1,500. Again, these are unopened VHS cassettes.
Unopened.
Number 2, to Brandon's point, Friday the 13th, the first film that came out in 1980, sold for $1,600, almost $1,700. And number 1, I am completely taken aback by this, except for the ubiquity of the brand now, thanks to some live action films we had in the last 20 years. Transformers the movie, the 1986 animated film, sold
cartoon,
for $1,725.
You know, the weird thing about all of those is they're graded. They're in that plastic shell. And as someone who admittedly, I do own one graded comic book. So it doesn't matter if it's a DVD and it's got bit rot or disc rot. It doesn't matter if it's a VHS that's degraded over time. Because if you're going to spend $1,500 on this thing in a sealed plastic box. You're never going to open it. You're never going to cut the plastic wrap. You're never going to put it in a machine. So you're owning the idea of a brand new one. You cannot experience a brand new one. There's a subtle difference. You know, I like to buy old toys and open them, and then people get mad at me. You've ruined the value. I said, no. I extracted the value is what I did.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. Yeah, I can't imagine spending that money to not enjoy. How do you enjoy, I guess, just owning something? I mean, obviously, lots of folks do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not for me. Yeah.
Just a collecting. Yeah.
I told you years ago, I had bought these Star Wars toys to quote unquote collect them. And in the event, they may become valuable. And once I had kids, I was like, go crazy. You want to play with Star Wars toys, anything you want, just play with it. And they did. All right. Hey, next up in 1980s news, let's talk about Sherlock for the remainder of the show here.
Yeah, let's do that.
I love Sherlock. Brandon says, I've been flipping VHS films on Was that you that sold that Friday the 13th? Flipping VHS films on eBay for a year, but the flea markets are running dry because everywhere else has grown wise to it as well. Grown wise to just sell them on eBay, don't bother going to a flea market, I guess.
Or wants to flip them on eBay. So there's lots more people looking for them at the flea market.
It's tough to find deals anymore. I know exactly what you're saying, right? Because now people kind of go, oh, these things have value. And I hate this, by the way. You go to a flea market, which you guys know, I send you pictures a lot of weekends. I go to a flea market all the time. Yeah. And you see big piles of junk at stores. And you're like, oh, look, here's this thing. What do you want for it? And they go, hang on. Let me log into eBay and find out what's the asking price, and then I'm going to charge you that plus 10, right? I'm like, no, you're a flea market. Either mark what you want for it or don't go looking it up when I ask. It's your responsibility to know what your stuff is. If you're going to charge me what eBay charges me, I'm going to go to eBay and get it because at least there I have some level of buyer satisfaction insurance. Whereas you are just some knucklehead in the middle of, out in the middle of a field over under an awning, and you're not going to be back next week if this is bad. So that's why you want to get the bargain. That's the risk you take. I'll pay you just $5 for it. I take all the risk. Can't wait for me to cherry pick it and then decide you're going to charge the full price.
Good point. Yes.
I was going to see. I guess you got a couple of Nightmare on Elm Street movies here, a couple of Halloween movies on here, Friday the 13th. Other than that, you've got a mix. A lot of them are sci-fi, though, the Star Wars films. Over the Top is on here, that Stallone film.
Oh, my gosh.
That's really? Kind of a, outlier. There you go. All right. Hey, next up on 1980s news, as I mentioned, let's chat about Sherlock for a few minutes here.
Indubitably.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's talk from young Sherlock Holmes to young Sherlock. The adventures of the most famous detective in the world, Sherlock Holmes, have been adapted to various forms of media for over 100 years. Created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes first appeared in A Study in Scarlet in 1887. In the years that followed, Conan Doyle wrote an additional 3 novels and 56 short stories documenting the cases solved by Holmes and his friend and biographer John Watson. Yeah, most of the stories, if not all, they're written by Watson himself saying,
I remember when my dear friend Holmes, we first were approached by...
Anyway, in the decades since, other creators have added to the Holmes franchise by continuing the consulting detective's adventures. Well, most of those hew closely to the source material. Some, including many from the 1980s, reimagined Holmes. This month, Amazon Prime Video has added another, inspired by Andrew Lane's young Sherlock Holmes novels, with Guy Ritchie as director. Young Sherlock is now available on Amazon Prime. It was adapted by a guy named Mark Parkhill, and it's pretty cool because it's, pretty, let's say, faithful to the tone and some other traits of the character that we, fans know and love. But it's presented in that unmistakable Guy Ritchie directorial style, which I don't know how to articulate exactly what that is. But if you like his films, you'll like the show in that regard. If you don't, you're not going to like the show either.
There's a little layer of grit and violence on top of every Guy Ritchie film. Just a thin veneer and danger that you might not expect out of ordinary people that Guy Ritchie does. And also some really quick cuts and whip pans and things to give otherwise innocuous things a sort of energy and kineticism. Is that a word? Kineticism?
Yes.
Kineticness?
Yes.
Sure. One of those words.
Yeah, there's like an abruptness to it. that, whoa,
They're probably clipping frames, right? They're probably making things more impact by clipping frames to make it even, you know what I'm talking about, right? They take out a few frames to make things even a bigger impact. I feel that happens a lot in Guy Ritchie films and to good effect.
Yeah, and one of the things about his films and about this, which I thought would bother me about this, is he uses contemporary music at times, which, it's anachronistic because consistent with Holmes, it's set in the Victorian era. Consistent with the original stories, which were in the Victorian and Edwardian era, I suppose.
So if you want proper music for the era, you want the
You're freaking me out, John. I don't want that. I want ghosts knocking on. It's so, you know what really freaks me out in that song? Since you brought it up, She says, "I'm so cold." Oh, it's like the afterlife.
And then Will's looking for his warm jammies, hot pants. Gets cold on the moor.
Tucked in.
Yep, tucking in the back.
I had my pajamas tucked in last night. The weather's bouncing around. Under my weighted blanket and extra thermals. But yeah, so
I had the bed fan on, appropriately enough.
So. You had your bed fan.
John's got one of those fans from the store above the doorway. He just has that at his feet. The sheets don't ever touch him.
Remember in school when you would all have the big parachute and you'd run to the edges and you'd run to the end? It was just like, that's what I'm sleeping under all the time.
Oh, that sounds...
now we should put basketballs in the middle of the bed and do the popcorn thing.
John's wife is running back and forth while John's trying to sleep.
Manage your side of the sheets.
Yeah, right. You had they call your name and you had to run from one side to the other and grab on the other side. That's how we did it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Parachute.
Yep. That's how I do it too. I roll from one side.
As we were in elementary school, how did they have access to all these parachutes that so many schools had them? Are there people, deploying in Vietnam, let's say, or post-Vietnam, in Iraq that are like, oh shit. They flash back to third grade.
Oh.
Oh, anyway, back to Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, but so some of the music's contemporary and I mean straight up contemporary. You may recognize the song. In the first episode, I was like, I think this is going to drive me crazy. But it settles in, and afterwards, it's not so much like that. And there's this cool score that is a mix of what have been, contemporary for the piece type instrumentation, but you'll have an electric guitar maybe playing along with it too. It really works.
Wow.
Anyway, I recommend it. What else? So it follows Sherlock at 19 years old, long before he solved the case that first brought him to notoriety. Sherlock's played by Hero Fiennes Tiffin, who is the nephew of Ralph Fiennes and Joseph Fiennes. And Joseph Fiennes actually plays his father, Silas Holmes. His mother, Cordelia, is played by Natasha McAlone, I'll say. And Colin Firth's in it as well. Also, there's a bunch of other people in it too.
With just that information, it's already on my watch list, by the way. I hadn't looked at it a bit.
Awesome.
All on my watch list now.
Well, unlike prior adaptations of the famed detective, this latest spinoff, in addition to ones I mentioned earlier, like Watson and Sherlock and Daughter, can safely ignore the confusing rights issues that plagued earlier versions. For example, when Guy Ritchie last did something related to Sherlock Holmes, he struck a deal. No. Let's see. He took the extraordinary step of signing agreements with two companies that claim to have rights to the stories. Like, we don't deal with it. We'll pay you both.
Y'all figure it out.
They both claimed.
Yeah. It's been a disaster since Conan Doyle died. Was it over 100 years ago? When Robert Doherty created Elementary, which ran on CBS from 2012 to 2019, he found the rights situation to be, quote, murky. But nonetheless, a deal was struck out of an abundance of caution. That's because there's this funny thing that happened with their copyright, and we're seeing play out with some other IP as well. Because even though many of Holmes's adventures entered public domain as early as 1980, some did not. As I mentioned, there's been a number of short stories and novels over a couple of decades, during Conan Doyle's life. So to continue to allow creators to build on the story, the estate would, hey, I heard you got a nice movie there about Holmes. It'd be a shame if anything bad happened to it. Is what they would do in hopes that people would pay, not knowing, well, I don't know, I don't want to get sued or not. I'll just pay. Right. But to do this, they were relying on an interpretation of law that has been rejected, not formally enough in a court until recently, that they were able to get by. And the idea was this, that because the last of the Conan Doyle works was still in copyright, or still protected by copyright, that is not in public domain like the first one, which came out in 1887, Sherlock wasn't done yet. His character was still developing. And because it was still developing over the arc of all of these stories, Sherlock himself was still protected. Well, there's a danger to this, obviously, that's counter to the idea of copyright. But in 2013, Leslie Klinger, a lawyer and Holmes expert, wanted to write a book, actually his second book about Holmes, and he sued the estate just so it could get settled. He's like, court, you got to tell these people to stop, cut this shit out, or we'll pay. But this, we don't believe they have a leg to stand on with this idea. And the court sided with Klinger, reaffirming that the law that only sufficiently original elements that appear in individual published works can receive protection.
Ooh, so not the original character himself necessarily, but things. Well, you gave him a limp? Well, the limp is under copyright, but maybe not the rest of it.
Exactly. Yeah, I think a real clear example to highlight that is this idea we talked about where some folks own the rights to Jason with the hockey mask, and some folks own the rights to Jason as a little boy that drowned in a lake.
Okay.
And never the twain shall meet unless they are able to cut a deal of some kind. But yeah, as recent as you remember the Enola Holmes series on Netflix?
Yeah, I watched that too. Yeah.
Is that the gender swapped story of Holmes, right? Wasn't it? Or was it his sister or something?
It was a sister, yeah.
Was that who it was? Okay, I didn't remember. It was just a recast or. Yeah.
And Henry Cavill actually appears as Holmes in it, briefly. But they sued, or they threatened to sue the estate that is the Enola Holmes producers, saying, "Look, Sherlock may be in public domain. Okay, we get all that, but you're doing certain aspects with the character that are not in public domain, including you're making him more humane. Conan Doyle only softened him up in later years and made him more."
That's a slippery slope, isn't it?
Yes. And the judge disagreed with that. That whole notion that it's just too nebulous. It's
very, very nebulous.
Yeah. So Judge Posner, who's a very well-known and well-respected judge, said that copyright protection of a fictional character couldn't be extended beyond the expiration of the copyright because the author altered the character in a subsequent work. Were it to be so, authors would have a direct incentive to continue writing stories with old characters just to keep the copyright protection in effect. Yeah. He has a mustache now.
Reset button.
Yes. Start the clock again.
Now he's got a brown shirt. All right. Reset.
Yeah, I saw someone suggesting, well, I guess Batman just has to change his costume which he does anyway.
He does.
Every few years in Batman, which is set to be, public domain in like 10 years.
Nipples, no nipples, nipples, no nipples.
Yeah,
you never know
right.
what it's going to be on those suits.
Judge, he was lactating in those books, Judge.
I meant Batman, of course. I don't know if you were talking about Holmes or not, but I meant Batman.
Yes. Holmes. He wrote all these as a nursing mother. He was a wet nurse for extra dollars. Men can lactate.
I've never had the proper encouragement, apparently.
No, John. I feel sad for you. I'm leaking right now. But on January 1st, 2023, the long-running contested copyright dispute over Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's tales finally came to an end as the 1927 copyright that included Conan Doyle's last Sherlock Holmes work, the Casebook of Sherlock Holmes, expired. Now, these were even originally supposed to be only copywritten for 75 years, but you may recall we chatted about this before. In 1998, the Copyright Term Extension Act passed, nicknamed the Mickey Mouse Protection Act, because Disney's the one who fought for this.
Meaning it's a rinky-dink protection act?
Yes, exactly.
What's with this Mickey Mouse operation?
Yeah, you want the Mickey Mouse protection, or you want the
the good stuff?
Oh, you want to go down to the Goofy level? Did you fuck with Goofy?
I will Pluto you so fast.
Yeah.
You won't know whether you're a dog or a horse or what you are. Goofy. Jeez.
Goofy will be walking his own dog. Wait. Goofy. Whatever.
But is he a dog? Yeah.
You'd be
Now
walking
that's
him-
a Mickey Mouse operation right there.
This sounds very Mickey
He'd be
Mouse.
walking himself. I don't know. Anyway, but once that happened, they got another 20 years. So, anyway, but they're finally out. Of course, this is important because once something's in public domain, then other folks can legally share it, modify it, perform it, reuse it, repurpose it, reimagine it without any permission or cost.
Like what happened to Winnie the Pooh.
And Popeye.
Yeah, all these
And
things.
Popeye.
It seems like maybe that's a bad thing, but it is a good thing. Folks who create something should be able to benefit for, at least their lifetime. And the way copyright is it was your lifetime plus it was like 28 years. And then it became 50, then 60, then 75, and now it's 95 years. So you'll be dead and someone else will still benefit from it. More so than necessary. Obviously, these extensions aren't applying to individual artists anymore. It's to protect corporations so they can continue to make money. But the old idea, and still the new idea, even as expressed by Posner, is that let's protect it for a limited amount of time so other folks can now riff off of it and we can have a more, sort of fulfilling, I guess, or,
Or richer,
richer
kind of tapestry of stories in there. You made it up. It doesn't mean you are the absolute best at it. Perhaps there's other directions to go. I get that. But yeah, let the guy get his props for what he did in his lifetime.
So I remember in the 1980s, and I cannot find an article to back this up, but I do recall this, and I can give you some things that back it up, at least seem to. I remember in the 1980s there being a news story about this, that Holmes is entering public domain. And I'm sure not coincidentally, we had a number of different new Holmes properties, which we had for decades earlier, but many of those were authorized by the state. But it probably, or the aspect of this that backs this up without an article that I can point to, is that a study in Scarlet which was written it was the first book and was published in 1887, became public domain in 1980 in at least Canada and the UK. And based on the copyright law at the time, that is before it was changed, it was changed in the 70s and it was changed in the 90s, it would have also expired in the US on January 1st, 1983. And I think that's probably what I'm recalling, which is why we get a number of, a different products, like I mentioned, a new surge of Holmes adventures, including dozens of films, TV shows, and books.
I just thought myself in a corner, and I'm going to ask you, Will, to tell me how this works. So it's been fairly established now that you can't just, as you said, put a mustache on him and hit the reset button, and now it all works, right? So that's been struck down. However, if I in 2025 choose to make a Sherlock Holmes film, the licensing on that film starts the day that's released, right? Mm-hmm. Or is the fact that it was using public domain material, do I get the same protections even though I was using a derivative work of now public domain? Is my original new work based on that good for 100 years plus? Or how does that work?
Anything, it's probably how you'd suspect, right? It's kind of similar to what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Anything that you create with regard to it that is unique enough to be copywritten would belong to you.
So that's mine now. Yeah. So that version of it is mine.
And I'm trying to think, I'd be hard pressed to think of something that you could easily, that's just a clear example of being copywritten. Because even thinking about maybe he's a cyborg and it's in the future. That maybe too, sort of, I don't know, nebulous or mundane, Mm-hmm. Anybody could think of that. It'd have to be even so super unique because I think about this even idea of it being a daughter or a sister or a brother. Mm-hmm. That's just that's so commonplace. I don't think anybody could copyright that because it's too easy.
So the one that came to mind was you egregiously omitted the 2018 Holmes and Watson starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
Oh yeah.
Which even if under copyright, I think that would have been protected some degree under parody because it was clearly a riff, a joke of. It's kind of like Hot Shots Part Deux, it's kind of like Scary Movie. It's not using that property, although it was using the names, and some of the mannerisms and behaviors, but it was clear parody of those. And so I would think that treatment, by the way, don't watch it. Terrible film. I love Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. I love them even more together. They were terrible in this, so don't bother. But that creation of them as a comedic duo, I would think that would be a new and original take that clearly is protected, right?
Yeah, I've never seen it, but
good.
I don't know.
Correct choice.
I guess the one thing that I'd struggle with to try to
now I want to
answer your question as accurately as possible would be whether or not a parody would require you also to use names that are parodying your subject. In other words, calling yourself Holmes and Watson may be just too spot on. You'd have to be something else. I think
maybe.
But to your point,
or maybe they were able to do that because it was in fair use, right?
in the very least, it seems that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not to say the estate didn't. Hey, I heard you're making a Holmes and Watson movie. They may have done that anyway because that was their rep.
So I just got more questions for the part of the show I didn't think I'd be that interested in, the Holmes and Watson stuff. But
Yeah.
then how did all of the Star Trek The Next Generation stuff that happened on the holodeck where Moriarty was there and Moriarty actually gained sentience and escaped from the holodeck and everything?
I love that one. Yes.
Because Data was playing Holmes and he told the computer, like he was solving all the riddles because Data's a walking computer. And he's like, I need an opponent who is able to defeat me in order to have fun in the holodeck. So they made Moriarty like super computer smart and was able to, cause havoc on the ship. But it's clearly just using their names. And they were even like he was reenacting the Hound of the Baskervilles, right? It was like the books themselves. Was that because it was just out of copyright or is that because it was some other protection? I don't know how that worked.
Yeah. And see, the thing we don't know is, right, whether they cut a deal or not.
Right.
But Moriarty first appeared in a story that was published in 1893. And I think the distinction that's made between something that would have been free to be or in public domain by then or not was whether or not it was published prior to 1923. So if they had savvy enough attorneys and they held firm to their ground, which we don't know, they would have been free to use Moriarty too. It would have been in public domain by the early 1980s. I forgot about that. Oh, I love that one. Oh, yeah, that's a great.
Yeah. And it was more than once, 2 or 3 times. And they even brought Moriarty back momentarily in season 3 of Picard just a few years ago.
I could picture him, the actor.
And they brought the guy back, same actor. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, some great episodes on that series. Look, here's some of the ones that I love from the 1980s and some of the ones that are still revered today. Granada TVs, which is now it's now part of ITV over in the BBC. It's a competitor of the BBC. It's the commercial channel, whereas BBC is the publicly funded one. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which ran from 84 to 85, starred Jeremy Brett, which some folks regard him as the quintessential Sherlock. The Soviets had their own, which was apparently authorized by the estate. In fact, the star of it, Vasily Livanov, was knighted some years later for his portrayal.
Oh, my.
Christopher Lee famously played him in 87 through 88 in 2 TV movies. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh, and here, look, John, this is sort of what you're talking about. In 1988, you may remember we had Without a Clue, which was a take in which Sherlock Holmes was a drunk.
Really?
And the real detective was Dr. Watson. And Sherlock was played by Michael Caine, and Watson was played by Ben Kingsley.
I have a vague memory of that. Yeah. Vague memory.
Oh, that sounds like it would be good.
Yeah.
This is a crazy show that I don't remember, or a made-for-TV movie, but I kind of want to check out. The Return of Sherlock Holmes, that saw Sherlock Holmes frozen for 80 years and woken up in modern times.
What was modern? When was this? 90s? When did that come out?
87.
87. Okay.
You'll remember, of course, Young Sherlock Holmes, which came out in 1985.
Oh, the digital effects in that thing. That's all I can remember about that movie.
Yes.
The stained glass window. Or I was trying to remember what you call those.
Yep.
Like you saw it and then it leapt out of the stained glass. They broke the window. And that dude started walking up the aisle like, holy crap, this is what movies are now? That was some bleeding edge stuff.
Yeah, it was the first feature film. It was the first film to feature a fully computer-generated character.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did not see
And
that.
it didn't look creepy because it was glass. And the limitation with digital was like, you had these weird reflections and these sharp edges. Like, no trouble, it's pieces of glass, works perfectly. And it was so convincing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remember they had like a reverse angle where you're seeing through it. And seeing the other,
and it's like dimmer on the back because the back of the glass would have dirt or bright on one side. Yeah,
right.
I remember how good that looked.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm gonna watch that actually.
Yeah,
it was produced by Young Sherlock Holmes. So you got Young Sherlock's on TV right now. Young Sherlock Holmes is the movie. Produced by Spielberg, written by Christopher Columbus, and directed by Barry Levinson. The Great Mouse Detective, which, in an homage to the earlier Sherlock films we mentioned, has a character named Basil.
Yes. Love that
As
one.
in Basil Rathbone. Who's a rodent Sherlock Holmes type. And then finally, this is where I think, again, some
Mickey
liberties were
Mouse
taken.
Operation.
In 1987, a play that I saw on Broadway starring Frank Langella, Sherlock's Last Case.
Oh.
Now, I've got to tell you, look, it's a play you're probably never going to have a chance to see it, so I'm just going to spoil it for you right now. It finds Holmes being threatened by someone claiming to be Moriarty's son. And I think this is after Reichenbach falls, and I think Moriarty's dead. And he gets threatened, and he eventually gets kidnapped and imprisoned, Holmes, and he has to escape from this prison. And it turns out it's not Moriarty's son, it's Watson, who's kidnapped Holmes and wants to kill him because he's sick of playing second fiddle to Holmes's, genius. Yeah. Oh, I remember. So I saw this on Broadway with Langella, and I love Holmes since a very young age. I'm like, yes, Holmes. It's Watson. Fuck this show. This is terrible. You ruined it. I was one of those people. You ruined my childhood.
So I will renew my recommendation to not watch the 2018 Holmes and Watson.
Oh, okay. Ruining, yeah.
It's not that twist, but the sort of things that sounds like you hold very dear about the mythology is just ravaged. It's played up for laughs. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
I've loosened up since then too.
Yeah. Steer clear.
I'm on drugs. Yeah. Anyway, there you go.
Good ones.
All right, cool. Hey, I recommend Sherlock everything pretty much, but especially the new show. All right, hey, and speaking of shows, I guess that's our show.
Goodness. No.
Got nothing else to
That's
say.
our show. But before I bring us to a close here, I just wanted to say I was Watson one time for Halloween.
Okay, so look, we know deerstalker hat and pipe is and the coat is Holmes. What the hell is a Watson?
So
she just carried Holmes's coat around. I'm carrying his stuff.
Has anyone seen my partner?
I'm looking for the owner of this pipe.
Yes, Holmes. I'm just holding it. He said he'd be right back.
How do you dress up as Watson, Kat?
Well, you make sure that you're with someone who has a really good Sherlock costume, first of all.
Gotcha.
Which happened to be my husband. And his mom, she did the most clever thing. She took 2 baseball caps and put them
back to back for the deerstalker. Yeah.
Yes. And she covered it with this, hound's tooth, whatever.
Plaid looking,
this fabric.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he had a whole cloak thing. So I had on just some suit jacket and a bowler hat.
Yeah, that's what I would guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a big handlebar mustache? Please tell me yes. Please tell me yes.
I think I drew a mustache on. Okay. It was not a handlebar, but I think
that's halfway. It had the big waxed one that goes into a big loop.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that would have been more
that would sell it.
Conversational, yes.
Why these characters?
Because my husband had his costume laying around from when he was...
Oh, he had done it before?
Like his mom made it for him when he was a teenager for Halloween, and he just still had it. And we were invited to a party, a costume party.
So your husband was already 7 feet tall in his teen years?
Yes.
Kat's husband is really tall.
Already.
Well, that's fun. So was he a big Holmes fan then?
A huge Holmes
okay.
fan. So there's a section of our house, well, a bookshelf, where there's
a library.
There's a pewter bust of Sherlock Holmes, and there's all the collected works and the blah blah blahs.
Okay.
And we have several of the movies and the shows, Elementary, and there's a lot of Holmes going on in our home.
In your homes, yeah, very good. Oh, I got to chat with you about that.
Wow.
Yeah, you should. Okay. And that was our show. And it was brought to you thanks in part to our early adopters, Rick Parker and Karen Flieger.
Yeah.
And thank you especially to our Secret of Our Success Level Patreon supporters, Marcus Taylor, Matt Marino, Vincent Ferrari, John Henderson, and Brandon Green.
Thank you.
It's all elementary.
Hey guys, thank you so much for contributing to our show. It helps us bring you this high quality, lowbrow content week after week, as we remain the somehow simultaneously smartest and most juvenile podcast about 1980s media. Probably very few. Look, you can do anything you want. You want to give us money, go to patreon.com/1980s now. You want to do something free, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to YouTube, send us an email. You can email me directly, will@1980snow.com. And that's that. All right. Hey, we will talk to you next time on 1980s Now.
Until next time.
The game is afoot.